Have you ever realized that you are trying to take care of other people's feelings? And have you noticed how much that means you're not setting boundaries and taking care of yourself? Notice that you cannot take care of somebody else's feelings and take care of yourself. The two are mutually exclusive. So what do? Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great, saying yes to others not always is great. It's saying yes to themselves. I am Claudia Braun, mindset, lifestyle, and EFT coach for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. And if you haven't downloaded your sabotage assessment to find out how you unconsciously get in your own way, do take advantage of it. It's such a great tool because it will show you the 9 different ways that you are sabotaging yourself. And it's not if you are, it's when you are. Know that you're not alone. Research has shown that the majority of humans self-sabotage. And it's affecting their performance, it's affecting relationships, it's affecting well-being. You know where it hits you the most. And when you take advantage of this assessment, it really is a tool to tune into the parts of yourself that you might not be aware of. And as you know, awareness is so essential to change being able to happen. And this is such a great tool to give you greater awareness on how you can create change in your life. So do take advantage of it, and the link is in the notes below the video. So let's have this conversation, and I so want to hear your experience with trying to take care of other people and then noticing that you're not setting any boundaries. Or maybe you set a boundary, but then don't maintain it because you are trying to manage their feelings. And managing someone else's feelings so they won't get upset, so they'll like you, so they'll think a certain way that you want them to think about you is costing you your happiness, your peace of mind, your well-being. Because have you noticed how many areas of your life are affected when you are not setting boundaries and limits with people and just letting them decide for you on what your priorities are? Because those priorities are their priorities, and you have made them your priorities by not setting clear boundaries that you hold to when you see that somebody else is upset, angry, disappointed, thinking ill of you in some way, or you imagine they're thinking ill of you in some way. Because that's the thing, is that sometimes they're not, but in your mind you feel so bad about setting a limit that you just jump into assuming they're upset with you. Or maybe they are upset with you. And then what? What is your natural reaction? You say, no, you're not going to do something. And then someone gets mad at you, doesn't somehow, you interpret it as don't like you or don't like what you're doing. What do? What is your natural inclination? Is it to change your mind? Is it to decide, okay, I'll do it because they're upset with me? Is their opinion of you changing what you do? Because if it is, know that you cannot take care of someone else's feelings and take care of yourself. And setting a boundary, a limit, is about taking care of yourself. So many times working with clients, they'll think that setting a limit means they're selfish. But they've come to discover from our work together, and I know that I learned this on my own journey, if I didn't take care of myself, nobody else was going to. Nobody else is going to say, oh, Claudia, you don't have to do that. I'll do it for you, or I got this. No. When they're used to you doing things, you have to change. And when you change, guaranteed, someone else is going to have a response to it. And so what do you do when somebody else has a response that you don't like? Now you're uncomfortable. Now you're feeling bad because they don't like what you just said, or they don't like what you just did, or are telling them you're not going to do. Inside, you start to feel bad. Are you interpreting that to mean you're bad? You did it wrong? There's something wrong with you that you don't want to do it? What's the inner dialogue that you're having with yourself? And is that inner dialogue supporting you? Because so many times, what I've seen is that inner dialogue is a story that you have bought because somebody else at some time told you that you were selfish or unreasonable because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. And that can happen for so many reasons, right? If you've grown up in a place where you weren't allowed to have your own opinions, and so you learn to be malleable, you learn to adapt and be what other people wanted you to be so that you could get along, so that you could keep the peace. But at this stage in your life, you're realizing there's a cost to that for your keeping the peace. There's a cost to yourself, giving yourself away so that other people won't be upset. But when you start to turn that around and realize they're getting what they want at your expense, and then you ask yourself, why are they more important than you? And when you start to see it as you're equally important, each of your needs are valid. But if you are giving something away at the expense of yourself to please another, that is not an equitable situation. There are many times that you will give of service and do it easily and effortlessly because you can, because it's easy for you to do it. It comes easily, it comes naturally, it doesn't really change things for you. But there are other times when you're overextended. The last thing you need to do is take on one more thing. But because you don't want someone to be upset with you, you say yes. And then you feel the cost of that. Maybe you don't sleep well. Maybe you're angry and resentful because they asked you, because you said yes. So inside you don't feel at peace. You're not happy. There's a cost to you. And when you bring it back to remembering, you have a choice. You always have a choice to decide how you want to proceed in this situation. And remember, every time you make a decision, you are teaching somebody else how to treat you. And if you are always the person who is saying you'll give in, it becomes an expectation that you will give in. And when you start becoming somebody who holds to your commitments to yourself, they will come to know you as the person who has limits, knows what she can and cannot do. And that is reasonable. So it starts with having the conversation, my friend, with yourself. What are you telling yourself when somebody asks you to do something? Are you telling yourself you should do it? Are you telling yourself if you don't do it, they'll be mad at you? Are you telling yourself, who are you to take care of yourself? Are you telling yourself who will do it if you don't do it? Are you telling yourself you'll feel guilty if you don't do it? Because know that guilt is a learned response. Guilt is not a reason to do something or not do something. It's an opportunity to look at where is that guilt coming from. Usually it's a pre-programmed experience. I remember when I was setting limits with my parents particularly, how inside I have this reaction. Because as a child, I wasn't really given a lot of opportunity to say, no, I don't want to do things. So I had to learn as an adult. And when I started to set limits with my parents, inside I'd feel that, oh no, I've done something wrong. I'm going to get in trouble. And I had to really sit with those emotions and realize that was a kid response, not an adult response. It comes to being honest with yourself, being willing to look at things rightly. If the past is still dictating your present, you're not looking at things rightly. What you learned as a child is no longer your operating system as an adult. To have a life that feels peaceful, happy, joyful, because most likely, if you were saying yes to things that you wish you weren't, those are based on programs that you picked up as a child to survive. And now we're talking about how do you thrive? And you thrive by learning to look at these things differently, yet very clear on what's the inner dialogue within you. Not those people out there. You cannot change. They are going to be who they are. And something I learned a long time ago when I was in social work school is that when you change, no matter how closed the system is, no matter how much the system is operated that way, you cannot help but change the system. Because, my friend, as you change, those people around you are also going to change. And you need to be willing to sit with those uncomfortable feelings so that you can move through them. Because if you're always using that as a reason to not do something, you're letting your emotions stop you and keep you from making change that you need to make. When your inner self is saying, no, I don't want to do that, but then that voice kicks in, they're going to be mad at me, or what are they going to think of me? That's the opportunity to really step in and go, wait a minute, I have a choice here. And maybe they will be mad. Because just like you get to make a choice, they get to make a choice. They get to have their response to you. The more times you practice this, the better you're going to get. It's a practice. And I used to think when personally I was making these changes, and I see it with my clients, it used to feel like geometry to me. Wasn't very good at geometry. And every time I'd look at a problem, I'm like, wait, I learned this, but why is this so different? Might feel that way in the beginning. It's a practice. You will get better. It's a practice. And why do you practice? Because eventually it becomes something that you master and you feel really good at and you feel confident at. And when you have those emotions inside, you're like, oh, right, I've been through this before. I know that that's what happens. Initially, you get that feeling, but then you're like, oh, it passes. And I end up feeling so good because I did what it was right for me. And that's the thing. You're not doing something against somebody else. You're doing something for yourself. if you don't do it, nobody else will. So this is about being willing to take care of yourself because you're worth it. And because you want to feel good. You want to feel peace. You want to feel happy. You want to feel joyful. You want to love your life. Not because you're a bad person, not because you're selfish, not because you want to do something to keep somebody else away from you. And again, the more you care for yourself, the more you give other people permission to care for themselves. You become a teacher in that way. So I just so look forward to hearing from you how this works for you. Or if this is something you're doing, tell me about it. I'd love to hear. And if this is helpful, please share your comments or share what you've discovered from doing something different in your own life and how that worked out. Do take advantage of the self-assessment for self-sabotage and discover all the different ways that you might be currently unaware of how sabotage is undermining you and your happiness, peace of mind, and your well-being, and perhaps your performance and your relationships. I am Claudia Braun, mindset, lifestyle, and EFT coach for women ready to start saying yes to themselves. Thank you so much for being here with me. It means so much, and thank you for subscribing. I am a new channel, and I'm really excited to be connecting to community and building this channel. And if this resonates, your subscription as being here with me is just so valuable. And I look forward to being here with you next week. Bye for now.